I would like to illustrate this wonderful ecosystem in Lund and invite here on stage Professor Heiner Linke from Lund University. And he will talk about Lund as a European Center for Semiconductor Research and Innovation.
Great, thank you so much for the introduction, for the opportunity to introduce Lund as a center for European Center for Semiconductor Technology. You all are probably familiar with this extremely pointed quote from Ursula von der Leyen's presentation of the CHIPS Act earlier this year: "There is no digital without chips." I would like to develop that a little bit and to say there's also no electric transport sector without chips, of course, both in terms of actually having the electric power, but also in terms of all the autonomous driving that goes with it. There is no AI without chips, and today it's CMOS, but in the future it will be entirely new architectures that might be custom made for AI and custom developed. There are no batteries without power electronics, at least no charged batteries. There will be no quantum technology without chips, and by that I don't only mean that some of quantum technology will be built on condensed matter hardware systems, but they also all need to be controlled, and as we can see now, by custom electronics that doesn't exist yet. And the list goes on. There is also no precision medicine without big data and computing power, and you can continue this list to almost any product. So I am representing Lund University, but also specifically the Faculty of Engineering, where I'm Dean of Research, and we have created 7 topical profile areas that highlight our strengths and where we want to focus our attention, where specifically one of them is nanoscience and semiconductor technology, which with focus on from basic science through to top-level device development on the hardware side. There's another profile area called Pillars of AI and Digitalization, which contains, among other things, world-leading expertise in circuit and system design, communication technologies, and also the photon science and technology is closely interlinked with quantum technology, quantum sensing, and so on. And there is also a profile area on energy transition, which has, among other things, focuses on electrification, battery development. So all of these, 4 of our 7 at least, and you can of course find them also in the other areas, are tightly interlinked with semiconductors, and this is really one of our focus areas going forward. We have an existing infrastructure that's called Lund Nano Lab, where we already have world-leading expertise focused on 3-5 semiconductor nanotechnology, but also enabling many other things where which we are building on. Where one of the things we are particularly proud on is that this is tightly interlinked with training, because as you know, chips in the future will also require people trained to do this, including clean room work. And it's one of the strengths of a university environment that we can interlink the hands-on training with our labs, which is not the case everywhere. There's a very strong innovation system going on around this. So on the left-hand side, you see spin-out companies coming from these semiconductor environments that are actually in operation currently. On the right-hand side, a selection of the most important large players in the field that we collaborate with. And of course, this is not a complete list, but I think we got the most important ones for this meeting at least. And the thing that I maybe want to closely spend a few minutes on is our vision for the future, because there's very important developments happening around us in Lund. In particular, the establishment of 2 major research facilities for material science, but also device science, I would say, device technology. One, the European Spallation Source, a neutron source that is financed by 13 European countries at almost 2 billion euros, and which is already in operation. The MAX-4, a new synchrotron, which is in operation was inaugurated in 2016, and they're adding beam lines as we speak. which together provide unique opportunities. These are the most brightest, most modern sources on the planet at the moment, which provide unique opportunities, including for in operando device studies, understanding interfaces, understanding what's going on in really small structures. Linked to this, Lund University is already planning for a new Nano Lab, which will be a new generation of what I just showed you. And we are also planning to establish research and education operations in Science Village, including in physics and chemistry, including all of the profile areas that are highlighted for you, or at least parts of that. There will still be ongoing operations also downtown. So together with these, we think we can provide a unique ecosystem for a European hub in semiconductor technology, in particular with the Nano Lab, where we want to include some of the pilot line visions of CHIPS Act, as well as a planned extension of ProNano, which is a facility specifically for upscaling and pre-production, where we have plans to build this, or we hoped to be able to gather the support to build this out as well. So this is a bit of the vision, and this doesn't happen in a vacuum. So there is the Swedish government has established a vision for this area, ESS and MAX4, namely to create a world-leading research center in materials and life science. So to a very large degree we are doing this. And I think this is a Freudian typo. I was so shocked by this number myself. It's actually 2.2 billion euros, the total infrastructure investment that is happening in this area. This is matched by big initiatives, national research initiatives of the Knut and Alice Wallenberg Foundation. Specifically, just this year, there was launched a new research program by the foundation focusing on material science for sustainable world. Initially 270 million euros at 6 universities in Sweden. Since earlier, there is a Center for Quantum Technology worth a total of 100 million euros and a system a big program for autonomous systems at 490 million euros. So there's a massive investment. This is happening in Sweden, which is an excellent place for innovation in the words of others. So Sweden is consistently ranked #1 as an innovation system within the European Union. And in this region in particular is pointed out as one of the top regions. The CHIPS Act, I probably need to speed up here, but this CHIPS Act that you're very well aware with I would like to highlight two things, namely the development of new pilot lines, where you can see that this matches our ambitions very well, and the create a network of competence centers across Europe where we want to be one of them. This is a map from a presentation, an official presentation within the EU of how they, at that point in the development of the CHIPS Act, saw Europe. And I think one can say two things here. On the one hand, we are very happy to see Lund University as one of a couple of handfuls of universities in Europe that are pointed out here. On the other hand, you can also see we are not the big player here. There is a lot going on in Europe. There's a lot going on in the institute sectors. We are highly aware that we need to connect to these, and we are connected. And we're particularly happy to see you here. We have a strong network already. This is our publication network across the world, so we can also contribute something here. And to wrap this up, it's our vision to be a European competence center in semiconductor technology. We can offer worldwide unique infrastructure. We are embedded in a top 100 university. We have major national R&D research programs, and what I wasn't really able to highlight specifically here, we are covering the whole range from basic material science through world-leading device-level research and development to world-leading research in circuit and system design. So we can cover the whole thing, and we have the ability to integrate this with education, which I think is something which is needed at the European level. We have a plan to provide pilot lines and upscaling facilities, where we hope very much to realize this with the help of CHIPS Act, and in this way offer a thriving innovation system. So with that, I would like to welcome you to Lund, and you can see we are extremely interested in talking to you and working together and bringing this to fruition. So thank you very much.